Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. Now, could you imagine a child having no presents to open on Christmas Day? For hundreds of children around the world, this is the case. But today I'm joined by Adam Contoret, National Manager for Operation Christmas Child, a charity that delivers Christmas presents in the form of shoeboxes, packed full of goodies to children across the world who otherwise would not have a present to open on Christmas Day. Also joining me today is Nina Baker, singer-songwriter who has recently won a MOGO Award for Best Up-and-Coming Artist, and she joins me today to talk to her about her new music video. My first guest is a man that volunteers tirelessly for a charity that gives immense joy to children around the world. We welcome National Development Coordinator, volunteer Adam Contoret from Operation Christmas Child. Thank you, Adam.
Hi.
Lovely to see you. Thank you. It's a long title, but you're a volunteer, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a volunteer. An Operation Christmas Child is a project that you can participate in at any level.
Yeah.
So I can go through a bit of a journey.
Yes, well, absolutely. So let's go all the way back. We've got some boxes on our table.
Yes.
We're going to be talking later on about that.
Yeah.
But Adam, first of all, let's talk about you and how you got involved. So you volunteer, which means you don't get paid a penny for what you do.
No, I'm very fortunate. Is when I first volunteered, it was just on the basis where you make a shoebox, pack it with all the little bits and bobs,
yes,
and then drop it off so that it can then make its way to a child in need of a Christmas present. So that's how it started with me, and that's how it stayed for a number of years. But then over the years I got drawn more into it, simply because as a charity it's very simple. A child normally in a school or a church or someone's child, when they're at work they'll take a box home.
Yes.
That child will do a Christmas present for another child. And all Operation Christmas Child does as an organisation is takes it from their hands and puts it in the other child's hands. So I love it because it's really that
simple idea.
Yeah.
And it's a simple idea of just filling a shoebox.
It is.
Full of gifts
that
you can give to a child that otherwise perhaps would not have a present at all.
Exactly.
And when you first started your journey, what did you do? How did this come about?
I was working, I just finished my studies and I got a temporary job at Hewlett-Packard in Bristol, and I saw a leaflet in the company.
Yes.
Here's one I didn't prepare properly.
Yes.
So one of these was literally in a little rack.
Yes.
And I thought, that's a great idea. I'll do a box and then drop it in with their local person who collected them. So I think I did two. I did a boy and a girl, and I remember going to Tesco's and getting the shops, the shopping and putting it all in. But then I forgot about it for a long time, and it was because each year, in my mind, I was thinking, I'd like to do a shoebox, but I never quite remember the dates, and I'd always miss it. And so then my daughter's now 6. When she was born, this is the bit that really polarised me. Is you get those videos on in the gym actually of donations. They want you to donate to different causes.
Yes.
And I used to ignore them. But since my daughter was born, I looked at those videos and I actually saw my daughter's face in those kids that were in real trouble. Some were getting malaria, some were starving. And I kept seeing her face and I thought, I've got to do something about this now. Because there's no difference. They're the same kids. Mine's just lucky to have been growing up in a country where she's not going through that same hardship. So I said, right, I'm going to do 100 boxes this year. Got together with some friends, we fundraised, we made a mistake of actually trying to wrap 100 shoe boxes. It doesn't sound like many, but to wrap 100 in paper that you can open.
Yes, that's right, yes.
So, but the easiest bit was getting the things. I'd forgotten how cheap things can be when you shop around. And so what we did is bought value products, value pens, pads, toothpaste, and literally within a couple of weeks we had those 100 boxes. And that's when, from there, the next year I started thinking, right, how can we contribute more? And a lot of people will go down the route of volunteering in a warehouse, doing sorting and distributing, or going out to schools and promoting. What seemed to happen to me is I started going on eBay and I was finding more and more deals and I was putting them together with more and more people. And the subsequent year we ended up doing 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and it scaled up, and each year it scaled up. I got my work lorry, I bannered it all up with pictures of shoe boxes. That became a bit of a joke because whenever I left the banner on all year round, so you'd go in to do a pickup or a delivery, and they'd say, "Oh, you're a bit early, mate." You know, all the Christmas presents and stuff. And so then finally I started volunteering in the organisation where I want to try and help other people. There's only so much you can do on your own. And it's really a team effort across the whole country.
So it's gathering all those people.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a video, Adam, so let's have a look at the video. And what's this video called that we're going to watch?
Journey of a Shoebox.
Journey of a Shoebox. That's for people who may have never heard of Operation Christmas Child. Let's have a look at this, and then people can understand exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So Adam, that's a very moving video, isn't it? But also very informative for people, as I say, who, before we watch the video, people might not even know that Operation Christmas Child exists. Tell us a little bit about the charity itself.
Right, it's very simple. It started in 1990, and it started where there were kids were having a real bad time, a real rough time in Romania in particular. And a few individuals got together and they thought, we're going to do something about this. They got together with businesses, churches, schools. And around the Wrexham area, so not too far away, they got together 3,000 Christmas gifts. And the form of a shoebox was the most convenient packaging form to put the gifts in. They then hired a lorry and sent those 3,000 gifts to these children in Romania, and the job was done. They did a great job. Those kids had a Christmas present, it was the first time such an operation had occurred. but it didn't fizzle out. Next year, it was done again on a bigger scale, and then in the subsequent years, other countries were added. It became an organisation that just kept growing year on, and now it's an international organisation that distributes about 10 million shoeboxes a year across the world to 130 different countries.
That's amazing. And what are some of the countries, Adam, where the boxes go to?
Right, I mean, all sorts. I mean, there's a list on all the information's at operationchristmaschild.tv. On the website. But, you know, anywhere, Zimbabwe, I've been to Zimbabwe to see the shoeboxes being distributed, Romania, Albania, Lithuania, you name it. There's a lot of countries where there's some areas where children are almost forgotten when it comes to Christmas. And it's such a simple gift. And at this stage, let me explain as well that it's a Christian charity, but the boxes are given on need alone. So they go to all faiths countries, and they go to the kids that are most in need. And that's a process that happens in each country with their local teams.
And it's, I mean, and for many, it's the first time the child has ever received a gift.
That's the thing that really shocked me and polarized me into further action. Is when people were telling me stories from distributions where children are actually carefully unwrapping the wrapping paper around the box and putting it up as a poster, just because things are that hard to come by. A toothbrush, they may have had one toothbrush in the family, or none at all. And that's why these boxes, although it seems simple having a soap and a toothbrush and a toy, they are things that just bring that message of love and hope to those children, that someone actually cares about them.
So tell us about your personal journey, Adam. How did you get involved? I mean, you said before, you know, we watched the video, but tell us a little bit more detail. What sort of, if you like, was a catalyst point for you to say, that's it, you gave up your full-time position?
I started doing it while I was working because of what happened with my daughter being born. And all the time I was very mindful of the fact that if an opportunity arose for me to do this full-time, I'd take it. We did 1,000 shoeboxes in a group of us, and we actually had some printed, and that's what we had printed. And it was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. I started thinking to myself, this is really hard work. Have I made the right decision? And at that moment, I needed a sign. I needed something to say what to do. And I got a letter, and that was in the mail. It just looks like a normal promotional poster. But that's my shoebox. That's one of the 1,000. That came from the garage when we were volunteering.
And you had no idea that was going to be?
So of the millions that were distributed around the world, that's the one that ended up on the...
That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's the box there. And when you open it, some of the items will be very similar to what that girl in Kenya received. So that then told me, I'm going to go for it. And so I managed to save up. I'm very fortunate. My wife works and she pays for things while I do this voluntary work. And so now, the way I help the organisation and charity is to go out and tell people about Operation Christmas Child. Loads of people want to do Operation Christmas Child, but they don't know about it.
Why do you think that is, Adam? Has there been a problem in the past where it's not been marketed enough so that people do get to know about it? Because this time of year, of course, we're inundated with charities.
I think that's the problem. It gets swamped by all of the other charities. And also, it's a timing thing. A lot of people know about it. So if I go to the supermarket with my this particular box and I'm filling it, because my daughter, every few weeks we have to do a box because she just loves filling them. And people will come up to us going, oh wow, I didn't realise it was shoebox time already. So most people, they know about it, but they don't know when.
Perhaps necessarily understand the timings of it, because they have to be in, presume, within a certain time so that they can get shipped.
Yes, because it's all voluntary and things are done cheaply, because there isn't a lot of money behind it. The boxes go slowly. They go by road if it's to parts of Eastern Europe, and they'll go by sea out to Africa and other countries.
Which takes a long time.
Takes a long time, and then they've got to clear through customs. They've then got to be given to the distribution teams, who then take them to some very remote locations. And that whole process can take between 3 weeks in Eastern Europe and maybe 2 or 3 months to Africa.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
So you've got distribution teams across the world helping you when the boxes go to the other side.
They're the ones that do the most work, actually.
And have you've been to Zimbabwe, you said?
Yes.
Adam. How was that for you when you were delivering your boxes?
It was great. I mean, it wasn't a formal distribution because normally you book on the distribution, you go over with the team. But my mum lives in Zimbabwe, so I said to my mum, "I'm coming over. Let me know when the boxes. Yeah, let me know when the boxes are." Yeah. And we did a few plastic boxes because we thought the shoe boxes are great, but can we get something that's a bit more durable? So in our volunteer group, we sent over some plastic boxes that looked a bit like this.
Yes.
We just decorated them with various stickers, and they went to Zimbabwe on one of the years, and they were very well received. But actually, the cardboard one is still the main.
The main one that people
do.
enjoy.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're going to look after the break about how the boxes actually work and what goes in them.
Yes.
But are you very pleased with what you've done so far? Were you pleased that you've given up your role and you've?
I am. Yeah, I really enjoy it. The job satisfaction is immense because everywhere you go, you're bringing a difference one box at a time, and it doesn't matter how many people do because there's always
More.
More. Yeah, there'll be an end.
Welcome back to Cuppa TV. I'm still here with Adam Contoret from Operation Christmas Child, and we're now going to be looking at exactly what goes in the boxes. So Adam, let's have a look. First of all, we have this. Tell us about this.
Right, okay, so when you find your shoebox,
yes, so any old
shoebox, and you wrap it before you fill it, because then it needs to be opened like that.
Yeah, now that's the thing, isn't it, with them? You can't wrap it so it's all totally wrapped to be closed, because it has to be opened. Why does it need to be kept open?
It's open for two reasons. So it can be checked at the depot to make sure there's nothing hazardous, and then checked in the countries they go to make sure there's nothing restricted.
By customs.
Yeah, by customs. So it just makes it easy.
Now you've also got this, Adam, which I'm going to. You've told me I've got to do, so I'm going to give. So this is it's one that you can get online.
Yeah, it's a flat pack shoebox. It's just been introduced recently, and they're readily available at certain places. So some shoe zones will have them. They also act as drop-off points at shoe zones. The entertainer store, toy store is also a drop-off point. And these will be available on Big Centre TV reception as well.
Wonderful.
They're a bit of a trial. They've been going a few years, and each year more and more are produced.
Right.
So individually you can get them from certain places for free, and then some organisations buy them on the web in packs of 50 or 100.
Wonderful.
So it's whether you want to. Yeah. Wow, I'm impressed.
How easy is that? So again, and of course this one you don't need to wrap. Because it's all done for you.
And on the leaflets that accompany the boxes, you have the boy-girl sticker, and you can just tick the age group. And whether it's a boy or girl.
Now let's have a look at that, because that's important, isn't it? So the boxes, you have a boy or a girl, and you have age ranges, don't you? So you would mark, so you would make your box either
put
like
all the
this,
gifts in it.
and we'll go through the gifts in just a second. So on the top then, look, it's all gone away now, that's it. So you would take one of these stickers.
Yes.
And then you've got, will you tell us, and what you've got, what are the age ranges?
So you literally just tick off, you've got 2 to 4, 5 to 9 and 10 to 14, boy and girl. And so you just tick the one that your box is for, and then that, when they do the distribution, that then can go to that age group.
So you just need to put that on top of the box, do you?
You just cut it out. It's got like adhesive, you either lick it or moisten it, and then just stick it on there where it says put your label.
That's right,
and then
very
they
simple.
know.
Now there's a donation required, isn't there, Adam, for the boxes?
The boxes have to get to the children, and so what we recommend is a £3 donation to just pay the transport. And it's funny, the donation's always been roughly the cost of a coffee or a beer. So, coffee's about £3, a beer's £3, so
what do
roughly one of those.
Yes. So what do people do? Do they put it in the box, or or do they do it online?
That accompanies the box, you can either do it online and you get a barcode that you can then track your box so you'll know where it went, or you just drop it in one of these leaflets, which
just in there.
I'm all thumbs, aren't I?
No,
there you go.
That's fine.
Put them in there,
and then put that in the box.
Goes in the box with the gifts, sort of like that, and then at the depot, that money
gets
pays
taken
for that
out.
box.
Wonderful, excellent. So, I mean, that is so. These are available now, are they, for this year?
Yes, they're available this year. Selected shoe zone outlets and on reception at Big Centre TV. We'll keep trying to get as many in as we can.
And absolutely. And again, if anybody wants to come in, they can come into Big Centre TV and collect one here.
Yes.
Wonderful. So let's have a look now and see what actually goes in the box.
Right, this is the good bit.
Take us through. Yes.
So it's not about designer brands. A lot of the children will be grateful for any brand. So I just say go for value. You know, value products. There's a lot of them out there, and they're very cost effective. So here we go.
So let's empty.
The categories,
What have we
I've got them all written down on the leaflet. So the first category.
I'll empty if you like.
You empty it, and I'll go through it.
That makes it easier. So we've got toothpaste. Now again, is that important?
So that's in the hygiene category. So we have toothpaste, toothbrushes,
Perfect.
and something like soaps. I put 4 in there, just in case. You can just put 1.
Now again, this is because the children presumably wouldn't have any of the toothpaste, toothbrush, or just soap just to cleanse themselves.
That's the thing. So that's why I put in a multi-pack there. That's a single one.
Yes.
And a face cloth.
Yes.
So that's your hygiene category sorted out. Toothpaste, soap, toothbrush, face cloth.
Wonderful.
That's your hygiene category. So another category is education. So always pens and papers and pads come in handy. So that's an inexpensive sort of notepad.
And again, in many countries, Adam, they don't have, for the schools, they don't have pen or paper, and in fact they have to bring
their own. Yes.
Which of course they haven't got because they can't afford.
Yes.
So really, by giving that in the box, it's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? It's wonderful because you're helping them as a present, but also with their education.
Exactly. So we say put in some pens like that, for example, a few pens, and then some fun. I like it colourful. It's nice to have a colourful shoebox.
That matches my table.
There you go. Look at that. It all fits in perfectly.
Absolutely.
So that's the school supplies. We've got some more in there. This is a bit of a double one, this one.
Yes.
And then toys. So something like a ball. That's always good fun.
That would be good because they can share and play.
Exactly.
Again, it just is such a simple thing.
They're so simple. A ball, teddy bear, yo-yo, something like balloons can be good fun just to decorate where they are.
Yeah.
And so that's it. And then there's a category called, so we've done toys, hygiene and school supplies. The 4th category is other items. So that will be things like hats, scarves, gloves, sunglasses, hair accessories. You'll be amazed at how girls appreciate hairbands, hair clips, Alice bands, all those sort of things. And then the final thing is sweets. Somehow my sweets have disappeared. Oh, here they are.
Sweets have a knack of doing that, Adam.
Yeah, there's some sweets.
Probably the guys here.
I'm watching those. The hard sweets are really a great idea.
Lollipops, any kind of hard
sweets. But we say avoid chocolate, not because it melts, but a lot of countries don't allow dairy. Going back historically, they don't like dairy, and because chocolate is
dairy. Most of the time,
it can cause a problem in some countries.
Fine. So hardball sweets are perfectly acceptable.
Yes.
And then when you pack it all together, you just obviously pack it as tidily as you can.
Yeah, get it in there.
And you mentioned hats and scarves. Is that important because obviously some of the countries that the boxes go to are really quite cold in the winter.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's where
it's giving them a choice.
A choice, yes. I haven't got an example of that.
Oh, that's
because
okay.
somehow that is in another box.
That's okay because we know what and these sorts of things. And again, would the child have ever seen anything like this?
Do you know, I don't think they've seen many things at all because they find uses for things that you wouldn't expect, like using the wrapping paper as a poster.
Once they've even emptied out the box,
they'll keep the box.
The children, as we've seen on the video, the children actually just love the box.
They love the box, and they'll put some of their other possessions in there. And the sharing is what amazes me. They have so little, yet they'll share. If a child, say there aren't enough boxes to go around, and say a girl gets 3 hairbands, she'll give away 2 of them. And I that's amazing.
And I mean, people are not to be worried, Adam, would you say, about, because if it's a particular age range, because these children have never seen probably half of it. So it doesn't matter. Things that are going to give them joy. If you think it's a good idea, is that what you would say to people?
Yes.
Then put it in the box.
Just put it in the box. We have a policy called respecting the gift. And it's amazing the number of times a box arrives, it has something in it, like a pair of gloves or a pair of sunglasses, and it's exactly what that child wanted. And that's down to respecting the gift. At the sorting centres, they only take things out that are hazardous, and that's what's encouraged. Leave the gift as it is, and when it arrives, it goes to the child and they get.
And there's things that you can't include. Would that be liquid and things like that?
Yeah, liquids are generally excluded. And
chocolate, we've said.
Yeah, chocolate and sharp items. So scissors, knives are not a good idea, and also any war-related toys, because these boxes can potentially be going to areas where there is quite a lot of war-related tension and stress and distress. So we stay away from that area just in case. Yeah.
And as a an operation,
Yeah.
is there a sort of an age range that doesn't get as many boxes, say, as perhaps a younger age range, or is the younger not as, you know?
It's going to change now.
Yes,
after
so
this.
yes.
Yeah, so
What's the most
people,
popular?
They always do the young category.
Which would be 2 to 4?
2 to 4 and 5 to 9 girls become very popular. The ones that are the least are the 10 to 14 girls, and the one with the least of is 10 to 14 boys. For some reason, they don't get as many boxes made. Yeah.
Maybe just people can't think maybe of what to put in. But
Yeah.
what would you think would be a good thing to put in for a 10 to 14 boy?
Yeah, just simple things. Again, the soap, toothpaste, colouring, all that's the same. Sweets are the same.
That's right.
But then more like you could put a cap, like a baseball cap.
Something like a harmonica?
Yeah,
that would
musical
fit
instrument. Yeah, that would fit in there.
Being musical.
It's amazing what
Yes.
kids will play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, would a recorder fit in there? It
The little
probably
one.
would. Yeah,
I can't
a
remember the
little
name of it.
recorder.
Is it a
Yeah, but that would be
soprano
good.
or-
So again, it's things like that for with a
Yeah.
slinky, maybe a slinky
Yeah,
or
slinkies
something
are cool.
like that.
Yeah, slinkies.
You know, so again, it's just really just you say, don't worry so much about, you know, the most expensive car,
no,
you know,
just
toy or something. But something that's obviously safe.
safe and just get it done. They don't. These kids have got so little, and there is. If you imagine a line of children on a distribution, there's always never enough boxes for the whole world, effectively. So that's why I say just do a box. Keep it simple, and a child out there will get that message that someone actually cares. It's that simple.
Has it changed your life, Adam?
Yeah. I mean, you see that the children getting them. You can put a photograph of your family so that they can see.
Maybe a Christmas card?
Yeah, a Christmas card. I mean, I put in boxes I put a few blank Christmas cards in there, so that, and I always put I do it the opposite way around. So I'll put more girl Christmas cards in the boy boxes, because I've got this thought that they're going to be giving it out to their girlfriend.
Yes,
I don't know if it's just imagining too much, but
no.
I think if you've got the blank cards as well, they can give them out to each other.
They can give them out.
Yeah.
And in your experience, they do get, because often with charities, there's been a lot in the press this year about charities and where the money goes, where everything's giving.
Yes.
They do go exactly to.
They do,
places.
and this is the strength of Operation Christmas Child. A lot of charities that are faith-based come under some criticisms, but the great thing about this being a Christian charity is we have a church network that we can tap into for distribution, and in Africa particularly, the church networks are probably the most reliable way of getting any form of logistics through customs and to the children that really need it, because they're aware of the need.
Yes, exactly.
And then,
So if you'd like any more information for our viewers out there, just contact us here at Big Centre TV. But for now, we're going to have to take a break. But thank you so much,
Thank
Adam.
you.
Thank you for joining us. And we'll keep in contact with you via a video diary as well. We're going to do that, aren't we? So that's it. Right, we're going to take a quick break now, but come back and join me after the break. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. My next guest is singer-songwriter Nina Baker, a classically trained pianist who's wowing her fans and winning global awards. Welcome, Nina, to Cuppa TV.
Hello.
Wonderful to have you on the show. So, Nina, what brought you here to Cuppa TV? You've done so many things, haven't you? And it's just wonderful you could join us today. But what have you been doing the last sort of few weeks?
Well, I've been busy on the festival circuit. I've been very busy with that from the beginning of the year, and I'm currently working on some new video material too.
Oh, wonderful. So you've done a lot. So let's go back to the beginning, though, Nina. So how did it all start for you? You're a classically trained pianist, so presumably that's your passion.
Yeah, I mean, I started learning piano from the age of 14, and I also did a lot of musical theatre work too. But it really started sort of 5 years ago when I started to write songs, and I started to try out my material at open mic nights and small venues, and really sort of getting a feel for audiences and getting experience that way. But it's really the past sort of 18 months that everything's kicked off, and I've been supporting Ella Eyre and Foxes and Mark Morris as part of their UK tours. I did the warm-up shows for Monty Python at the London O2.
You've just done some wonderful things. I mean, when did you start to learn the piano, Nina? What age were you?
I was 14, which is quite late really, but But I think I was so driven with that instrument, it really suited me, that I was just determined to get through all of the grades, and I would just spend hours and hours every day just on the piano and working out different chord structures, as well as sort of reading music and everything.
Yeah. And is it something that's always been a passion? Did you always want to play the piano?
Not really. It was.
Did you play another musical instrument before the piano?
I attempted, but they just didn't suit me. You know, I've always been singing. I was singing from a very young age in school choirs, and again, sort of musical theatre was something that I was always involved with from the age of about 7. But the piano came a bit later. But as soon as I started to play it, I couldn't stop.
Yeah. So were you in musical theatre when you were younger? Tell us
Yes.
about that. What did you do?
I did a lot of shows with the Norfolk Youth Music Theatre. I sort of grew up in Norfolk, and I obviously live this way now. But I got a lot of experience that way, and I sort of did a lot of stage shows with the Theatre Royal and the Madder Market Theatre.
Oh, wonderful. So what did you do? Were you performing there? So
So it was singing and acting.
Wonderful. Is that something you'd like to do, you know, in the future? Is that something you like to do?
Do you know, I think I've sort of moved on from that now, but it's certainly given me a foundation for how I write. And I think, you know, often when I'm writing lyrics, I tend to put myself into a character. Although everything that I do is based on personal experience, sometimes it's easier to kind of put yourself outside and sort of look in how audiences would react as well. That they'll see how you'll react that way.
Yes. And did it give you confidence? Because I imagine, you know, being on the stage, live theatre, did that give you confidence as well?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's been something that I've grew up with from a very young age, you know, being on stage, whether that was singing or playing piano. So.
And do you come
certainly
from a
helps.
musical family, Nina? Do the rest of your family play any instruments or sing?
I think it skipped a generation actually. My grandparents, both sides of my grandparents, were very musical, and they sort of introduced me to the real classics, like the jazz classics like Frank Sinatra and Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald. And again, you know, those sort of jazz and blues artists definitely come through in my music too, where there's like a fusion of pop with rock and jazz.
Yes, because how do you describe your genre of music?
Classical pop.
Classical pop is what you like to say. And is it something that you always play the piano? Is it something that's always going to be part of your music career?
Definitely. And, you know, because I write the material as well, I always start to write material on the piano, and then the lyrics come second.
I was going to ask you that. So you sit at the piano, and then so what do you do? Tell us what you do. Just sit and then just have a sort of play around with some chords?
I tend to work out the chord structures, and once I've got something that I feel stands strong as a classical piece first and foremost, I'll then start to work on the melody lines, and then the lyrics will come from that.
Wonderful. And then, so from there, so you're 14 when you started, so then what happened after that? When did you suddenly think, this is what I actually want to do, this is going to be my career?
Well, I had a lot of experience with the classical side of things, but after that I started to get into more of the popular style of music.
Tell us about your classical. What did you do in the classical?
In
the music, presumably when you say you had a lot of experience in were you playing classical music?
Yeah,
for
so
stage,
classical
for
piano,
shows?
yeah.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. I used to do a lot of piano festivals as well, with sort of big classical numbers. But I started to go off into the pop genre when I did function work. I worked with different function bands who sort of specialised in pop and Motown music. And again, I think all of these different influences have definitely helped my style.
Yes, and I mean it is a very unique style, and we'll be hearing your music at the end of the show, but it is a very unique style, and I always think it's so wonderful to hear somebody play the piano. Is there anybody that you aspire to? Is there anybody that you kind of see as your role model?
Well, my ultimate hero is Lang Lang, classical pianist, and I had the honour of meeting him at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year, which was just absolutely amazing.
Wonderful.
So, you know, as a pianist, he is definitely somebody that I look up to.
Do you think classical music, we're seeing a revival of that, you know, in the music industry?
I think so. I mean, there seems to be a lot of different genres coming through anyway. You know, country music is coming back again, and I think everything tends to go full circle. But, you know, I'm hoping that sort of classical music will become more of a forefront in popular music, and that's something that I'm trying to to sort of get people's attention.
Because lots of big artists now, they often use strings and piano, a full orchestra. So it seems to be a popular sort of, if you like, backdrop for a voice. Is that something that you would like to do? Would you like to perform, with a full orchestra?
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, certainly. I mean, the album had a full orchestra and full choirs on it as well. And everything about the album was organic, which again is quite unique nowadays. There was sort of real strings and that's something that I'm really passionate about.
I was going to say, was that important to you?
Yeah,
you
it
had
really
that?
was, yeah.
And when you're playing now, you have a band session. Is it a session, or do you use the same musicians?
I use the same musicians,
and they're from the West Midlands, aren't they? They're based
they're
in the
all
West
Birmingham
Midlands,
based.
Yes. And when you're there, how did you get together? I mean, how did you form this band? Did they come to you, or did you pick them?
Well, I met my guitarist, Nick, first when I was actually at the Jam House. I did some of their showcase evenings there, and I was introduced to him. And through Nick, I met my drummer and my bass player, James Randall and Christian Necht. And it's really from that point onwards that we've stayed as a four-piece when we do a lot of live shows. But, I also do a lot of solo material too.
Fantastic. And where do you do your solo materials? Do you perform solo as well?
Yeah.
And where would be your dream venue to play, Nina? Is there one that you've always wanted to play?
To be honest, I think every venue is different, and as an artist, it's really great to perform at different venues so that you get a feel for different audience members. But the sort of Palladium would be amazing.
Yes, or the Royal Albert Hall maybe.
Absolutely,
yes,
with full orchestra.
With a full orchestra,
yeah.
I can see there. and when you're playing, Nina, and writing, first of all, actually before you're playing, when you're writing, what inspires you?
Personal experience really. The music inspires me first and foremost, and it's from working out the piano parts that I know the direction the song will go, whether it's going to be a happy song or a sad song. But I don't sort of set out to write about a specific topic. It tends to sort of come to me when I'm playing.
Does it just flow?
Yeah.
And do you think there's, as a young artist and a female artist, do you think there's enough young female artists that are coming through the music industry at the moment?
I would say no, actually. There's a lot of sort of statistics that prove that as well, and it's certainly tougher in a lot of ways for female solo artists to come through in the industry.
Why do you think that is, Nina? Got any views on that?
It's a very male-dominated industry all through. But maybe that's something to do with it. But there's a lot of bands that tend to come through as well, more so than solo artists. Yes. That could be something to do with it.
And when you're playing, I mean, you've won many awards, and when you're playing, do you think about what could possibly be in the future? When you play a gig, small or large, do you think this is where I want to be, and what's the next sort of platform for me? Do you think like that?
Well, I'm always thinking about what I can do next, and how I can sort of reach out to more fans and more people. That's always on my mind. Obviously, as an artist, that's why you create music, so that more people can hear it.
Now, you had your album. When was your album? Your album was released. When was your album released?
That was at the end of last year.
Yeah. And you went to a single, Bruising. That's the single from the album, wasn't it? That was released as well.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see that one today. We're going to see you a live performance later on. But how was the album writing that for you? Was it everything you wanted it to be, Nina?
It was a massive project. It took 2 years to do, and as I said, I had specific ideas of the direction that I wanted the album to go in, and I wanted it to have a real classical foundation, but also sort of have the piano at the forefront and have that sort of real rock and sort of jazz element to it as well.
It's a real mixture, which is great. It's great because you can't really put it in one specific genre.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted? Was that your aim,
Yeah,
really?
and I think for me, I wanted to create an album that really took the listener on a journey. I think often nowadays full albums aren't always released. You'll get EPs or you'll get singles, and people don't tend to listen to a full album as much now as they used to do. And so I wanted to do something that was slightly different and would really keep people engaged throughout the whole album and take them on a journey, sort of highs and lows, and that comes through in the songs and the contents of the songs as well.
Yeah. And tell us about the recent award you've just won, which is the MOGO Award.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
It's a MOGO Award. It stands for Music of Ginger Origin, and it's a very recent award actually.
Yes.
I was given it a couple of weeks ago.
Fantastic.
In London.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did you get that? I mean, what was you nominated?
I was
How does it
nominated
work?
for it, and it's the first year they've had a category for up and coming artists, which was amazing. And it was part of a big event that takes place all over the world called Redhead Day UK,
Yes.
which I was performing at in London, and I literally stepped off the stage and was called back on pretty much straight
Really?
away, where they announced all of the awards. And the other winners for this year were Paloma Faith and Newton Faulkner and Tori Amos. So
Wow.
absolutely amazing to be amongst those
I was going to say,
names.
were they there? Were they there at the award ceremony as well?
They were not there, but Orla Gartland also performed at the ceremony, so it was lovely to meet her. And
But how wonderful to think, that you to celebrate your peers and to celebrate really quite, just an amazing award. And what's that done? How's that made you feel? Has that spurred you on?
I think so. As I said, it's great to have recognition, particularly as an independent artist. That's really all you can ask for. That's the most important thing is for people to get to know what you're doing and who you are, and I think that's really important. Yeah.
And when the future, how do you see your future? What are you going to be doing?
A lot more sort of live shows. A lot more writing, a lot more music. I'm actually writing at the moment.
How are you?
So I'm currently working on that difficult album number 2.
Yes. Yeah. Is it always a difficult one, because you've done the first one that took you 2 years? Is number 2? Are you thinking, right, I've got to make it better than number 1, or what's your thought process on that?
Well, I think since I started writing the first album, a lot has happened. I've got a lot more experience. I've done a lot of live shows with some amazing artists, and also I've had a lot of different life experiences in that time, so that's definitely going to influence how I write. But whether I release a full album or I release an EP or focus on one song first and release it through streaming, I'm not sure yet. No. But I'm certainly working on a lot of new material for the live show first and foremost.
Yes. And what would be a festival that you'd really like to perform at, Nina? Have you got a favourite?
I'd love to perform at Glastonbury.
Yes.
I think every artist does, really, don't they?
But that's okay.
Yeah, but there's some amazing festivals all over the UK now.
So next year, will you be taking yourself on the road and be gigging a lot more?
Absolutely,
Can we expect to see you?
We'll be hitting the road hard next year,
Wonderful.
and looking forward to doing a sort of tour of Europe as well next year. So we're currently sort of working on plans for that now.
And has your career so far, because you're only young and you've won so many awards, and many congratulations for that. The one you've just won. Is it all that you expected it to be, Nina?
It is, but it's very hard work.
Yes.
It's
very
not all,
truthful of you.
It's
Every
not all
musician
glamour
says the
as
same,
everyone
yeah.
thinks. That I spend a lot of time on the road. And it's exhausting, but you do it because you love it, and as an artist, that's why you do it. So
and now you have more experience, and you're gaining new ground, new fans. Is there a sort of a particular genre of music where you'd like to take your music, or you're quite happy with where you are at the moment?
I think the new material will definitely have a slightly different sound, but it will always be a Nina Baker sound. There's always going to be piano at the forefront, and that's the key thing that will always remain the same. And for me as well, making sure that there are sort of organic instruments, and
that's very important.
That's
to you,
very
isn't
important
it?
to me. Yeah.
So it's all going to be like that. So we're going to play out the show with one of your live videos. So tell us about that. Where were you?
This was actually at Godiva Festival last year, which was an amazing festival. I was on the main stage, and there was Horace Panter also performing, and the Ordinary Boys.
Wonderful.
But there was some amazing artists for that year, and it was just a fantastic festival.
Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you, Nina. Thank you so much. So we're going to play out with your video, but come back and see me again very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank Nina and Adam for joining me today. And if you'd like to get in touch with us here, you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. Thank you for watching, and come back and join me very soon. Bye bye.
Too many times I've seen it. Right now I can't even hear you. So far back to where we started. Nothing's different. Trying hard to convince me. Say you love me doesn't convince me. No, 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 no. And then you come back as if nothing's changed. Have it all worked out. Think I'll be the same. That's not how it works. We were both messed up before you left. Never thought you'd give up. We were always meant